Bueno, muy buenos días a todas las empresas que se empiezan a conectar al entrenamiento exportador con expertos ANDI que tendremos el día de hoy. Mi nombre es Ana Cortázar, directora de Asuntos Internacionales de la ANDI, y como ustedes saben, venimos haciendo desde hace unos años unos entrenamientos que van directamente dictados por los expertos que crean herramientas potentes para poner en las manos de los empresarios estas herramientas y ayudar a que los empresarios tengan más información para la internacionalización. El día de hoy vamos a contar con un equipo muy especial de ONUDI. Tenemos aquí conectados alrededor de 5 expertos de ONUDI que van a presentar una plataforma muy potente que se llama el Knowledge Hub, y es una plataforma que ayuda a entender el comercio global, eh, promoviendo la comunicación de datos como calidad de la infraestructura, indicadores, y de esta manera es como nosotros desde la ANDI queremos que las empresas no solamente vean que si es posible llegar a mercados internacionales, que si es posible acceder a data que es abierta, y que puedan de alguna manera interesarse más para internacionalizar los productos o los servicios que tienen. Así que pues el día de hoy me gustaría darle la bienvenida a Javier Fernández. Javier Fernández es el coordinador técnico nacional de ONUDI Colombia. Le doy la bienvenida a Javier para que pueda prender su cámara. También me gustaría darle la bienvenida de que prenda su cámara Silvia Rey, que como ustedes saben, Silvia trabaja en la Dirección Internacional de la ANDI y hoy va a estar acompañándolos a todos ustedes durante la sesión. Y bueno, antes de darle la palabra a Javier, contarles que la sesión de hoy tendremos a expertas como Dorina Nati, que es la experta en desarrollo industrial de la ONUDI. Tendremos también a Dorra Barebek, que es encargada de todo lo que son las data insights de comercio de la ONUDI. Y tendremos también a Nicolina Bovar, que es experta y productora en todo lo que es el contenido digital de ONUDI. Entonces vamos a tener específicamente 3 expertas que nos van a contar cómo funciona esta plataforma del Knowledge Hub, cuáles son esas herramientas que ONUDI pone a la disposición de todos para entender el mercado y las oportunidades en el mercado global. eh, en esta sesión cada una de las expertas nos va a dar una presentación. Vamos a cortar, digamos que en cada presentación hacer un corte para hacerles unas preguntas a los empresarios que se van conectando, para también poder entender ustedes qué les interesa, qué necesidades tienen. Y estas preguntas, si ustedes nos las responden, les pedimos por favor nos ayuden con eso, porque nos ayuda a nosotros en la ANDI entender mejor cuáles son las necesidades que tienen las empresas. Entonces, sin más, quiero decirles también y recordarles que la sesión con las expertas va a ser en inglés. Ustedes de alguna manera, si tienen alguna pregunta, pues también pueden poner sus comentarios en el chat, o pueden poner también sus preguntas dentro de la sección de preguntas y respuestas. Ahí Silvia estará encargada de la moderación, pero las sesiones con las expertas serán en inglés. Así que bueno, muchísimas gracias a todos por ya conectarse. Tenemos alrededor de 95 personas conectadas y estaremos dándole la bienvenida a las personas que se vayan uniendo. Entonces, Javier, primero que todo, muchas gracias por hacer este segmento posible. Venimos trabajando y hablando con ONUDI desde hace ya varios meses para poder poner en las manos de los empresarios esta sesión. Y gracias, Javier, por toda tu ayuda, la colaboración tuya, de Claudia, de todo el equipo y de las expertas que están acá reunidas. Te doy la palabra. Así que, como les estaba diciendo, esta sesión va a ser un poco entre español, pero luego inglés. Así que, Javier, gracias a ti por acompañarnos y te doy la palabra para que des tus palabras de apertura.
Ana, muchas gracias. Sí, como lo mencionas, va a ser una sesión entre español e inglés. De hecho, voy a empezar en inglés como para que nuestras colegas en la sede puedan escucharnos. It's a pleasure to be here with you, with all of you. Thank you to the International Directorate of the National Business Association for providing this space for interaction with the private sector and the industry, which the industry is at the heart of UNIDO's mandate as a specialized agency of the United Nations in industrial development. I also want to greet my colleagues at UNIDO headquarters in Vienna. With us is Dorina Nati, which coordinates the Global Quality and Standards Program implemented by UNIDO. Doha BRB, sorry if I mispronounce your name, Dora, who is also part of our Directorate of Technical Cooperation and Sustainable Industrial Development, and Nicolina Bovar, who I had not yet the opportunity to meet you, but Nicolina will share with us about one of the valuable analysis tools we have designed at UNIDO. I will quickly switch to Spanish. Ana Milena, muchas gracias nuevamente en nombre de la oficina de la ONUDI en Colombia, que también cubre a Guyana, Perú y Surinam. Queremos resaltar el rol relevante de la ANDI para impulsar el desarrollo de sectores productivos relevantes en la economía nacional. De hecho, en el marco de este mandato hemos podido establecer unas sinergias bien interesantes, bien significativas con la ANDI desde hace bastante tiempo a través de los programas de cooperación que implementamos en Colombia. De hecho, uno de esos programas es el GQSP Colombia, que es un programa de cooperación en el cual venimos trabajando con la ANDI como contraparte del sector privado desde el año 2019 y es en el componente global de este GQSP, que es el programa global de calidad y estándares, como su nombre lo indica, es un programa global y en el componente global eh, que, que complementa a los programas país del programa, pues se han desarrollado algunas de las herramientas que se van a presentar el día de hoy. Entonces, estos espacios justamente están, digamos que muy orientados a lo que se pretende desde la ONU es generar capacidades, generar conocimiento, transferir ese conocimiento a los países priorizados por nuestra cooperación y hoy tenemos, digamos, unas expertas de lujo que las van a guiar digamos, a todos ustedes en la exploración de estas herramientas. Yo veía que habían más de 300 personas que se habían inscrito ya cuando Silvia nos compartió la última información, así que me parece genial que podamos tener estos espacios, que este sea además un espacio introductorio, pero que en caso de llegarse a presentar oportunidades de profundización, de exploración de nuevas oportunidades, nuevas herramientas, pues también decirles que cuentan con el apoyo y cuentan, digamos, como con esa sinergia permanente que hemos desarrollado desde la ONUDI y desde la ANDI. Muchas gracias de nuevo y ya los dejo para que puedan entrar en materia para el resto del evento.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Javier. Como les decía, pues Silvia va a estar moderando los próximos paneles y secciones, así que Silvia, te doy la palabra y gracias a todos los que están conectados.
Muchas gracias, Anita, y buenos días para todos los empresarios que nos acompañan el día de hoy. Esperamos que este evento pues, sea muy fructífero y que les permita conocer toda la gama de herramientas que hay, que muchas veces están abiertas al público, que están en Internet, que son gratuitas, de fácil acceso para precisamente ayudarlos en sus esfuerzos de internacionalización. Entonces, ahora pues nos gustaría lanzar unas pull questions para conocer un poquito más acerca de sus empresas, conocer de pronto a qué sector pertenecen, qué tipo de empresas son o qué modelo de negocio tienen, el tamaño. Entonces vamos a lanzar tres preguntitas muy rápidas que nos ayudarán a conocer un poco mejor el público que está conectado con nosotros el día de hoy. Y ya pues daremos paso a Dorina, quien nos dará la primera presentación. Entonces vamos a esperar unos 1 minuto, 2 minutos, para que la mayor cantidad de empresas nos puedan contestar. Bueno, por ahora 18 empresas de 97 que están conectadas nos han respondido. Los invitamos a todos a activamente participar para que sea pues, un evento muy dinámico y podamos conocer un poco más quiénes están conectados. Ok, 47% de los asistentes ya contestaron. Voy a cerrar esta primera encuesta. Pues podemos ver que principalmente las empresas que están conectadas son de metalmecánica y de agro, y que son micro y pequeña empresa o mediana, tipo pymes, así como pues que son empresas que le apuntan a modelos de negocio B2B y B2C. Entonces, muchas gracias a todos por participar. Now, I would like to give the floor to Dorina, and Dorina, welcome to this event, and thank you very much for your time.
Buenos días. Thank you very much for having me today and allowing me to present the UNIDO Knowledge Hub. I will be sharing my screen. If somebody could just confirm that you see it right. Yeah?
Yes, now we see it. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will be presenting today the UNIDO Knowledge Hub, which operates under the overall theme of shaping quality, innovation, and climate action for improved lives worldwide. This is a very broad theme. A little bit on the background is that this initiative started to be as the Trade Knowledge Hub. So it was supposed to provide information, knowledge, and tools around trade. But as the world evolves, so does trade, and and today it's not just about competitiveness, but so much more. So we focus now on quality, innovation, and sustainability. I will start with the complexity of the world that we live in, where sustainable development is challenged by a series of global megatrends. And I'm sure all of you are aware of this. So countries on their path towards sustainable development, first of all, the path towards sustainable development itself is not a straightforward one, but a quite challenging one. And then on top of this come all the global megatrends and challenges like climate change, digital transformation, the energy transition, COVID hit from nowhere. So there is a lot going on in the world. And as a matter of fact, the only constant is change. So how do we address all of these challenges, and how do we adopt to these circumstances? Before I go further, just a little bit about UNIDO. So we are the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, and the UNIDO priority areas have recently been defined around supporting sustainable supply chains so that developing countries get a fair deal of a fair share of the deal. And resources are preserved, so strong focus on sustainability, limiting climate breakdown. Climate change remains the biggest challenge for humanity, and ending hunger by cutting post-harvest losses and developing agribusiness value chains. And I saw a lot of you today are in fact agribusinesses. How does UNIDO fulfill these priority areas? Through its 4 functions: technical cooperation, action-oriented research and policy, advisory services, normative standards-related work, and fostering partnerships for knowledge and technology transfer. All of this under the theme or the vision of advancing progress by innovation. Why was this important? This is important because what we do at the Knowledge Hub links very much to the functions of UNIDO. So the Knowledge Hub is an interactive platform which aims to provide information, creates knowledge and disseminates this knowledge, thereby builds capacities. There's a lot of data available for analysis. There's a lot of advocacy that is being done through the Knowledge Hub, and of course, our normative work, the tools that aim to provide global solutions to common challenges, and we will get to that in a bit. What do you have? And this is already a glimpse at the Knowledge Hub. There are 3 main areas, which is the Training Academy, which has a series of online trainings, most of which are self-paced and completely individual to be completed. There are the tools, and we will get to that in a minute, and there is a number of publications and resources. Today, we have more than 14,400 active users that are registered on the Knowledge Hub and actively use the information. Through the Training Academy, we have issued more than 5,300 certificates. There is a number of publication and multimedia material, and on average, we have 23,000 clicks per month. This is not bad for a website that has been up and running for about 6 years. On the resources and publications, there is a lot of information there, 461 as we count today. What are these publications about? There are a lot of technical guides, there is a lot of advocacy material, and there are also best practices from the countries. You see here, there are some of the documents that have in fact been developed in Colombia, such as on eco-design. So we do, of course, produce information and documents at the global level, such as the smart quality infrastructure document, or how standards can contribute to digital transformation and good governance. This is what we do as UNIDO here at headquarters. There are a number of documents that showcase what we do, or the best practices from different countries, such as, for example, how to foster climate resilience through quality and standards. There are a number of cases there also going into the enterprise level. And then the technical guides, of course, that can be on any topic that is relevant and links to the overarching theme of the Knowledge Hub. This is complemented by a number of trainings. There's the Training Academy, which we are expanding regularly. There are a number of trainings around quality and standards. Interesting for you, maybe one on quality management and how to better manage quality at the enterprise level. There are a number of trainings around sustainable supply chains, investment, and also trainings around the topic of innovation, such as on e-commerce, innovation management, a training we launched together with ISO, also interesting for enterprises, an introduction to Industry 4.0, which I think by now we need to update. And a number of trainings that are being developed. We just discussed yesterday with Javier to based on the work done in Colombia to develop a training on good laboratory practices. So just to showcase that there are trainings available, and this is being expanded, so feel free to come back. Some of the trainings are also available in Spanish. Of course, our primary language is English, but some of the trainings, and I have indicated there, some of them are also available in Spanish, such as the one on quality infrastructure and its relevance for trade. Some selected tools. There are a number of tools on the Knowledge Hub, and we will be presenting. I will give you a glimpse of 3, and then Dora will be presenting 2 in more depth. The Quality Infrastructure for Sustainable Development Index, the Standards Compliance Analytics, and the Laboratory Network. Very briefly, I don't want to preempt also what Dora will be presenting later, but the QI for Sustainable Development Index summarizes the state of development of a national quality infrastructure and how ready it is to support sustainable development, looking at the 3 dimensions of people, planet, and prosperity. This index was developed together with the INETQI, the International Network on Quality Infrastructure, and the 2nd edition is underway. I had to drop out of another meeting that was discussing just that before I joined here. What you can see, and here is really just a snapshot of Colombia that I took, is looking at the dimensions of quality infrastructure, which are metrology, standardization, conformity assessment, accreditation, and policy. You can see the state of how advanced Colombia is in these dimensions with regards to meeting its sustainable development endeavors. And you can see that you're relatively strong on accreditation and policy, a little bit less on conformity assessment, but still well above the average in your group of countries. I've put the links in the presentation, and I'm happy to put them also in the chat afterwards for you to have a quick scan. The Standards Compliance Analytics is another tool that analyzes border rejection data in major global markets worldwide. This is to assess the compliance capacity and challenges of exporting countries. This can be very interesting for businesses to see what are the major challenges and what are the reasons for rejection. For example, for Colombian products that are being imported into the United States or the European Union. For the United States, I can already tell you it's labeling. They have strict requirements on labeling. And for the European Union, it's pesticide residues and additives. This, Dora I'm sure will give you more information later, but just to give you a glimpse on what kind of information this tool provides. What we do then is we help to prepare country reports to analyze the vast amount of data, because what is here is really just one of many, many indicators to help the countries navigate in best addressing these challenges and also prioritize their investments at national level and build the capacities that are needed. The last tool that I would like to touch upon in my presentation is the laboratory network, which is a database that provides information about services offered by conformity assessment bodies around the world in areas of calibration, testing, certification, and inspection, and also provides information for conformity assessment bodies, how to strengthen their capacities, but also how their work is changing and evolving in a digital world. For example, during COVID times, remote conformity assessment techniques were very much asked for, so there is information about that. From Colombia, we have 375 laboratories represented on the laboratory network, and this, I think, links to a national database that is available in Colombia. In any case, if you're a business and you have a product which you like to get tested, it is sometimes very difficult to find the right partner where to get tested, where to get to the certification of your product. And this is precisely why this platform is also useful for businesses, for small, medium, or even large businesses. Yeah, with that, I want to touch a little bit on the Global Quality and Standards Program, which Javier already mentioned before, because at the Global Quality and Standards Program, we have two components. One is the global knowledge management, which very much is reflected in the knowledge hub, and the other one is the country components with very targeted interventions at country and even value chain level. The underlying idea here is that these two components complement each other. So at the global level, we do provide global solution for common challenges. We see, we try to identify what challenges are similar in different countries on their path towards development, and then we aim to provide common solutions or solutions that are applicable in multiple countries. But at the country level, sometimes also a very interesting idea emerges, and this is then brought up to the global level and can be featured on the knowledge hub, such as will be the case, for example, with the training that we're developing together with the colleagues in Colombia. So my wish is for you to make use of the information and of the platform, but if you feel that something is missing or you're looking for something more specific, then please feel free also to provide feedback. We do take this feedback seriously, and we're always looking to expand the information and the knowledge base, of course, in line with what is much needed at the country level. I want to close with a quote to my presentation, which is from Albert Einstein. Imagination is more important than knowledge. There's only as much as we can provide on an online platform. There is a lot of information on the Knowledge Hub, and with a little bit of imagination, this information can come to life and can really make a positive contribution to your work. So feel free to use it with imagination and creativity. I've left here again the link for you. And of course, I'm available for questions if there are any. Thank you.
Dorina, thank you very much for this wonderful and so complete explanation. There's no doubt that these trainings and tools you mentioned will be of great use for our companies, and especially for companies that are aiming to expand internationally. So, pues ahora hablando de la expansión internacional, queremos hacerles unas preguntas, como les decía, para pues también compartir un poco más con nuestra audiencia sobre sus exportaciones, para de esta manera poder conocer si ya exportan, con cuánta frecuencia exportan, cuáles son los mercados objetivos a los que le apuntan, para nosotros también poder pues hacer unos esfuerzos de identificar aliados o identificar herramientas y plataformas que los ayuden a llegar a esos mercados y poderles facilitar como esa intención de llegar a nuevos mercados. Entonces acá van a encontrar preguntas sobre sus exportaciones, los mercados de interés, qué barreras han presentado a la hora de exportar, si exportan a través del canal de e-commerce, cómo les ha ido, cuál ha sido su experiencia. Por ahora, no sé si me puedan confirmar si están viendo las preguntas.
Sí, sí se están viendo.
Gracias, muchas gracias. Entonces vamos a dar 1 minuto, 2 minutos para permitir que las empresas nos puedan contestar. Si ya vemos que 4 empresas de 99 conectadas han contestado, los invitamos a todos pues, a interactuar con nosotros para ya darle paso posteriormente a Dora en su presentación. Ok, 23 empresas de 98 que están conectadas nos han brindado una respuesta. Varias dicen que sí, que exportan mensualmente, otras diariamente. Tenemos pues todo tipo de empresas, otras no están interesadas en exportar por ahora. Y los principales mercados de interés por ahora son Estados Unidos, Canadá, países de Centroamérica, de Latinoamérica, de Europa. Y las principales barreras que vemos casi siempre pues tienen la misma tendencia de ser requisitos de acceso, temas relacionados con las tendencias, la cultura, el ecosistema de negocios. También queremos conocer pues cuáles otros desafíos han visto a la hora de exportar a través del canal de e-commerce, como de pronto falta de datos oportunos sobre este canal o la necesidad de comprender mejor las regulaciones del comercio electrónico o acceder a estudios de tendencias en e-commerce. Bueno, ya el 50% de las personas nos contestaron. Entonces, I would now like to give the floor to Dora so that she can move on with our presentation. Thank you very much. Dora, we cannot hear you. Do you
Oh,
have
hi
your...
everyone. Sorry. Hi everyone. My name is Dora Berebe, and I've been supporting the GQSP program, mainly focusing on these global tools that I'll be introducing today. I'm just trying to see if I can share my screen.
Yes, now we can see your screen.
Perfect. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Okay, great. And so I think in the program, I'll be discussing the standards compliance analysis tool first, that Dorina briefly touched upon earlier. So I'll be going through what is exactly border rejection data, what kind of information is available out there, what is the tool and some of its indicators. I'll focus specifically on the case of Colombia, and then I'll take a few minutes to go online and actually go through the tool itself. And then I won't be providing recommendations specifically about Colombia today, but I will let you know what we've done in the past for some of these country reports whenever we focus specifically on one of the, so far it's been one of the GQSP countries we worked in. Okay, so what is border rejection data? So basically, whenever a company is trying to export its products, and here we're talking specifically about agricultural goods that we're trying to export, whenever they're exporting and entering the border of one of these markets, some of these goods are going to get inspected at the border, usually a small percentage of them. And then the importing country is going to check if they're complying with the quality regulations of that country. And maybe sometimes they're going to be rejected. Basically, they're not going to comply. They're going to have a high level of pesticide residue, for example. The labeling won't conform to what the country specifies. They'll have bacterial contamination. So all of these goods now are going to get rejected. They're not going to be permitted into that country. And that information gets recorded. So every country is recording it, sometimes in databases that are available to the public, or sometimes privately recording it. So what UNIDO has done is we've reached out to these major markets. In our case, the markets that we have so far are Australia, China, the EU, Japan, and the US. And then we've harmonized that data because it's not being recorded in the same format. So we've harmonized it, made sure that each rejection product is assigned to an HS code. For example, this is vegetable, this is fruits, this is oils, etc. And once we harmonize and clean up these databases, we've uploaded it into this tool. And some of the information that's included is, what is the source of this consignment, of this shipment? So which country is it coming from? The reason why it's being rejected, some sort of classification for the product. Is it coffee? Is it oil? Is it dairy product, etc.? And when was it rejected? And as Dorina mentioned, this is quite interesting data because, as I'm sure you've noticed, since you're all companies who are either right now exporting or trying to export agro products, you have to keep track of a lot of rules and a lot of regulation as far as food safety is concerned. And they're constantly evolving, which makes it even harder to constantly be able to always comply with the requirements for each market. So what makes this information interesting is that it's helping government and also SMEs kind of pinpoint what are the specific areas of challenges, what are the problem, what has been rejected in the past. So, for example, if you're trying to always export, let's say, mangoes to the US, and you've noticed that most of the rejections are due to labeling, then you know that you can target that specific area. So you're able to allocate some limited and scarce resources to that specific problem to solve it, and then it will have a much higher return, instead of maybe trying to focus on improving something that isn't really an issue right now, like pesticide residue. So I think we've said pretty much all of this. What can rejection data tell us? A couple of disclaimers on that. It's important to know that the countries are not recording rejection data the same way. For example, US doesn't provide rejection on its meat and poultry products, so they're not included in the data set. And also, if a country is not currently exported into that market, for whatever reason, it doesn't even export, then of course, we're not gonna see any rejection data going into that market. So it doesn't mean that it's complying really well. It also can mean that it's just not even exporting to that market. So a few things to keep in mind, that this is a useful tool, but it's a small piece of the puzzle. So it's important to research and to kind of check out other data sets as well. So once we're able to analyze this rejection data, then we identify where the problem lies, and then we can act on it and then provide a solution to it. Okay, so the Standards Compliance Analytics is an online platform, and it's providing us 3 different views of looking at the data. It gives us first a global view with a word map and showing us at a glance which countries are complying better with regulation in which specific market. It's providing us with a country view, so a country profile, where you can select which country you're interested in, and then you can find out all this information about it, how many rejections it had in the past, what were the reasons it was rejected, etc. And then it provides a country comparison tool. You can compare your country of choice with 2 other countries. Maybe you're interested in what your competitors are doing. Maybe Peru is also exporting the same product, the same value chain, coffee as well, to the US. And you want to see maybe what were the reasons, what type of rejections they faced in the past, so that you can kind of go and overcome those potential reasons as well. So that's the comparative tool. And we have several indicators that helps us make sense of this data. Today, for the sake of time, I'm going to focus on just 2 indicators, but I'm happy to have any questions about the other indicators as well. First, I'm going to discuss the aggregate rejection rate. And this is a very simple indicator. It's basically simply the sum of the annual number of rejections for each market per year. And it's important to note that increases in the number of rejections it could reflect one of 2 things. Either the country is exporting many more products, hence we have more rejection, or the country is exporting maybe the same amount of product, but it's not complying as well now with the quality regulations. So here now, if we check, this is the case of Colombia. So this is what you'd be interested in. As you can see, Colombia has the majority of its rejections, and this is, I think, to be expected because it's one of its major exporting market is the US. Its majority of rejections are from the US, 81% of them. And you can see here, if you look at the data, that it started reducing its rejections around 2014, 2015, 2016, but then we've seen now an increase in the last, in 2019 and in 2020. And since we're currently testing the new data, we've got the data sets for 2021 and 2022. We'll be able to check now the next slide to see how did the US fare also in more recent year, especially we've had COVID come in, I think in 2021. So it'd be interesting to see if that rate of rejection decreased or increased. You can see we have a few rejections from the EU market and a couple also from Japan, but not in recent years. And this is for all agri-food products. So this is for HS codes 1 to 23. But the tool allows you to, if you're, let's say, interested only in coffee, it allows you to go and pick, HS code 9, for example, and check out the rejections just for that and the reasons for rejections for that product group. Okay, so here we will see the rejections for 2021 and 2022 as well. And as you can see, the US remains quite high in 2021 and 2022. I didn't add the percentages here because we are currently awaiting for data for China, so I didn't want to influence the percentages since the data is not available yet. But I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of trade going on as far as agri-food product from Colombia to China, so it could end up being also with zero rejections, I don't know. Interestingly enough, you see a big spike for the EU. Here it says EU 28, but that should be corrected because as of the end of 2020, for 2021 and 2022, the UK left the EU, so the EU is now EU 27. But as you can see, we see more than double the rejection between 2021 and 2022. So that's when we have to go back and do a bit more research and context and find out how many exports from Colombia were going to the EU did they increase between 2021 and 2022? And also there's one more indicator in the tool that helps us answer this question. That helps us answer whether it's the increase of exports that's adding to the rejections or whether it's the increase in non-compliance. Okay, and as you can see, the US remains quite high for 2021 and 2022. Okay, next, one of the probably more interesting indicator that I think you'd like to take a look at, especially if you're an agro-business SME, is why are things being rejected? And a container, just so you know, can be rejected on multiple grounds. So the total number of these reasons for rejection is going to be higher than just the ARR, than the aggregate rate of rejection. Because, you know, one container could be rejected because of labeling as well as mycotoxin, and then it's counting twice. And then we have the pie charts per market for the different reasons of rejection. And I'll show you this in detail when I go through the tool in a bit. But for Colombia, from the period of 2010 and 2020, you can see that half of the rejections were due to labeling. 13% were additive, 11% hygienic condition and control, and a couple of other reasons were pesticide residues and bacterial contamination. Now, I didn't do the same charts for 2020. I didn't include 2021 and 2022 yet, just because I wanted to make sure we get the Chinese data first, and then we have a more complete graph. But I did check the information, and it's pretty much the same. It's just slightly higher percentage for labeling and slightly higher for pesticide residues. Okay. And now, just so you know what we usually do with this tool, besides going online and finding out this information, we also research other articles and other databases, and we talk to our counterparts in the GQSP program. And we provide a set of recommendations in these country reports that are, we specify them in 3 different categories: on how to strengthen the national quality infrastructure system, how to enhance industry compliance, competitiveness, and sustainability. And this is usually where our recommendations also for SMEs comes in. And how to promote a conducive policy environment and a culture for quality. So I think for Colombia, we're going to be preparing also a country report. So we'll be in consultation with ANDI, I'm sure, and with other government and other stakeholders. Okay, thank you very much. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to go to the tool directly so that you have a chance to see it. Great. Okay, perfect. So let me just start from the beginning. Okay, great. I'll just start from the very beginning so you can see the workflow. So this is the website that Dorina shared the link of. This is the Knowledge Hub
Dora,
website.
excuse me, can you
Yeah,
hear
sure.
me?
Yeah, sure.
We're not seeing the other screen, just
Oh.
the presentation.
Oh, okay. Sorry so much. I'm sorry. I probably shared it
Don't
wrong
worry.
then. Thank you for letting me know. Let's see. New share. Oh. Yes, I did. I should have just shared the screen directly. I shouldn't have shared here. Perfect. Now can you see it?
Yes, now we can see it. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
wonderful, thank you. So this is the website, the Knowledge Hub website. If you go down, you would select, and we'll give you the link directly, but if you're coming from the main, you need a Knowledge Hub website, you go to Tools, you click on it, and then you go to Standards Compliance Analytics tool. And now I will go to Country Profile so that I'm able to show you all the information available for a specific country. And you just have to bear with it. It's a bit slow. I'm sorry. It's loading quite a lot of data. So, and here, if we go to Colombia, first it provides some, here we go. First, it provides some economic indicators at the top, the GDP, GDP per capita, LPI, etc. The logistics performance index, etc. And then this is the screen I was just showing you, the aggregate rejection rate. So as you can see here, there's drop downs with the product focus drop down. So here, let's say you're interested in coffee. You can select that, for example, and you can find out how many rejections. You can see most of the rejections are coming from the US. For that specific HS code. Okay. Now, these are some of the other indicators I didn't discuss in the presentation, but it's fairly interesting because now this indicator is, it's comparing the unit rejection rate. It's giving you the how many rejections there are per $1 million of export. So the good thing about this indicator is it's gonna let you know, regardless of how many or how little you're exporting, it's gonna give you a direct connection to, are you complying with quality regulations or not? So let's go and check the US unit rejection rate. You can see this orange line here. This is Colombia. And so Colombia is doing really well. It's lower than this gray line. And this gray line, it's going to say it in the introduction, and it's basically the average of all of the countries that are in the same income group as Colombia. So Colombia is in upper middle income countries, so it's all of the average of all the upper middle income countries. This is their rate when they're exporting to the US. And you want to be less than that, and that's great. It's almost close to zero. So this is the true value of compliance, much more than the aggregate rejection rate. So that's more likely if there's a high aggregate rejection rate, but then a low unit rejection rate, then most likely Colombia is just exporting more to the US in those years. It's not complying. It's complying just as well, because you can see now this orange line is close to zero and there is no spike for it. So you can see that in 2019 and 2020, Colombia is still doing a really good job at complying with the US regulations for food safety. Okay, and then if you continue all the way down, this is where you'll see the reasons for rejection, and you can see them by market. So earlier I had the pie chart that was combining all the different markets, but here you can see for each market you'd be interested in, you can see that, like Dorina said, labeling for the US at a glance, you can see that's the biggest problem. It's over half of the reasons for rejection. Then comes additive and then pesticide residues, as well as bacterial contamination. But now when you look at the EU, you see there's a variety of reasons. One of the biggest one is pesticide residues. And then additive. So I think, sadly, I'm running out of time, so I don't think I'm going to go through the other two different workflows we have. The Data Explorer is the one that's going to compare the countries, and the word map is the global view of the data. So I think I'll stop here and before we can go to the next session. There you go.
Okay, Dora, thank you very much. And well, I think that all businessmen here agree with me, and we want to thank you for explaining and navigating with us inside these platforms and tools, because I believe it's not the same to explore all these kind of tools alone than doing it with the help of an expert like you are. So thank you very much. Ahora voy a lanzar la última pregunta que tenemos con respecto a sus planes de inversión para poder conocer cuáles son, en qué países quieren invertir, si quieren abrir planta afuera. No me está dejando la plataforma lanzar la pregunta. Porque tenemos que detener este uso. Ya, listo. Entonces vamos a dar 1 o 2 minutos para poder conocer, pues si están interesados en invertir en otro mercado, más o menos en qué región sería, si ya cuentan con una planta o representación comercial en otro país, lo mismo, saber un poquito, pues más o menos a qué región le apuntan. Tenemos 9 personas que han contestado esta encuesta de 91. Les invitamos a que por lo menos 50 personas nos puedan responder y poderle dar paso posteriormente a Nicolina, que es la última experta que nos va a dar un tema muy importante para que puedan pues todos estar conectados y seguir conectados en esta sesión. Ya 30 personas nos han dado respuesta, vamos a esperar unos segunditos más. 34. Bueno, la gran mayoría de empresarios que nos acompañan hoy vemos que tienen un alto interés tanto para exportar como para invertir, expandirse internacionalmente hacia mercados como Estados Unidos, Canadá, Latinoamérica y Europa. Y ya cuentan con representación comercial o plantas en Estados Unidos, en Latinoamérica, en Centroamérica y en Europa. Listo, ya el 47% de las personas conectadas nos brindaron su respuesta, entonces queremos pues agradecerles por ayudarnos a compartir esta información. Queremos, como les decíamos, poder aprovechar estos insumos para desarrollar pues, nuevos productos que sean de utilidad para ustedes como empresarios. And now I would like to give the floor to Nicolina. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me just quickly share my screen. Okay, perfect. So I'm Nicolina, and I'm a digital content producer here at the UNIDO's Innovation Lab. And although I have joined the team quite recently, I have been very familiar with the platform, with the industrial analytics platform that I will be presenting to you today, because it is widely used here at UNIDO, and now I'm having the chance to cooperate a lot with a lot of experts and to gain all this expert knowledge. So basically, let me tell you a bit more about the platform. Let me just see. It's not moving for some reason. Okay, now it works. So basically, this is a very innovative tool that is providing like a lot of data, very comprehensive data on industrial development, and also relevant research by all the experts from UNIDO, but also experts outside of UNIDO. So basically, we are collaborating. I also wanted to say, if there's any of you who are who think that can contribute to the platform, feel free to contact me. So basically, let me just go a bit more into details about the platform. So there are two major parts. One of them is IP insights, and the other one is analytics. And I will first start with the analytics. So basically, IP analytics is collected data on select indicators of industrial development, and there you can see a lot of comprehensive insights into countries' performance and progress toward 2030 targets. So, for example, one of the tools that you can see there is SDG 9 Industry Tracker. And basically what you can see there is countries' performance and progress towards SDG 9 industry-related targets. So basically, there's a lot of insights and commentary about all these dimensions of sustainable industrial development. So let's see how it looks like a bit more. I will also share the link later on with you so that you can see the platform itself. But basically, if you look to the right, you can see an example of United Kingdom, for example, and what drives the SDG industry performance in United Kingdom. Some of the things that you can see there are SDG 9 industry index and also the index rank. And then, of course, if you want to see how much progress the certain country has made, maybe I was supposed to add Colombia here. Sorry for adding UK. You can see that there is value added per capita, employment, CO2 efficiency, and technology. And the other tool that we have that is also very useful and that you might find useful is a production tracker. And basically here you can track manufacturing performance across different economies and different industries. And basically some of the things that you can see there, for example, is how well countries' manufacturing production is performing, and you can also compare it with different countries. So, for example, here you can see two different levels, such as quarterly production tracker and also quarterly production tracker by industry. So basically, you can compare the countries, but you can also compare different industries. I'm just going quite quickly through all of these tools that we have. So another tool that we have is also competitive industries. And I think here what's the most important is that you can identify what are the most competitive industries comparing the revealed comparative advantage index, which is basically showcasing how a product's share in the country's exports compares to the global trade share. And of course, you can track changes, you can compare it to other countries as well. So for example, if you look to the right again, you can see which industries in Nigeria have a competitive edge, and you can also compare it to other countries. Of course, you can just select the country yourself and pick Colombia and then see how it performs, comparing how the industries are, what kind of competitive edge do they have. Yes, then you can also see how important are manufactured exports in different countries. You can see what are the leading industries in manufactured exports and what is the level of technological intensity in countries' manufactured exports. And then another tool that we have is value chains. So basically here you can assess countries' engagement in global value chains and also see how local production is integrated into global value chains. So, for example, here we have an example of Peru, and as you can see the sources of intermediate imports. You can see the share of intermediates in total imports, destinations for intermediate exports, share of intermediate in total exports, and so on. And then you can also see at what stage of production is this country integrated into global value chains. And last but not least, it's country profile. So this is also a quite useful tool because by this you can monitor the key economic indicators, for example, GDP, GDP per capita, income groups, human development index, etc. And of course, it also, what the country profile does is it also presents a data overview of SDG 9 industry tracker, competitive industries, and manufacturing and top industries. So as you can see on the right here, the key economic indicators. And then the manufacturing indicators, such as manufacturing in total value added, manufacturing in total employment, and manufactured goods in total merchandise exports, as well as the top industries which are performing in the global value chains. So the other part of the platform that is very relevant that I'm mostly involved in these days is IP Insights. So basically, this is very data-driven knowledge platform, and we are collaborating with experts both in UNIDO, but also experts outside of UNIDO. So yes, as you can see, it's a lot of expert analysis, storytelling, and there's a lot of data visualization, which can be useful and which makes this content a lot more accessible. So as I mentioned, yes, we are collaborating with our UNIDO experts here in house, and also a lot of researchers and other experts outside of UNIDO. And just a bit more about the impact of the platform. So basically, in February last year, UNIDO IP was certified as a digital public good. So basically, digital public goods are open software data models that adhere to privacy and other laws. So we were very happy to have received this certificate. And a bit about the global audience. So basically, we have 150,000 yearly users. Now we have more than 150 articles. A lot of articles are right now still in the pipeline, so there will be a lot more. And we are growing on social media, and also, of course, as I said, whoever wants to connect and contribute is, of course, invited to. It's a very nice way of networking and connecting, maybe, you know, spreading the word out about how you can contribute to reaching these SDG 9s. And that's about it. It is I have just joined the team, so it's been quite a journey. But I have to say, yes, this platform is really really interesting to work with. A lot of expert insights that you can see there, and I will share the link with you so that you can that you can scroll a bit more and familiarize yourself with the platform. And yes, that's about it from my side. Thank you.
Nicolina, thank you very much for your time. And now I would like to give the floor once again to our colleague Dora so that she can present us a little bit more about the Quality Infrastructure for Sustainable Development Index.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, and thank you so much, Nicolina, for your presentation. I also used the platform in the past, but now it was nice to know everything it has. It's really interesting. I'll share my screen once again. Sorry about that. I'll just start the presentation. There you go. So I'll be discussing today another tool. I'll try to be quite brief because I know it's a lot of information, but this is the Quality Infrastructure for Development Index that UNIDO also developed, and I think we launched it in 2022. And this tool, sorry, I'm having trouble with the... there you go, perfect. I'll give you a brief definition of the tool and explain how countries are ranked within their GDP groups based on their QI4SD index value, provide you with a couple of examples, including Colombia, of course, and just give you a quick update on what's next for the QI4SD index tool. So what is the Quality Infrastructure for Sustainable Development Index? So I'll call it QI4SD index from now on because it's quite a mouthful. It's providing us a framework of indicator. It's basically telling us what is giving a value, quantify what is the state of the quality infrastructure of a specific country, and how close are they to fulfill the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. So here, if you're interested, I'm sure you've heard the term, but just so that everybody knows what we're talking about, quality infrastructure, what is it? So it's a system that's comprising public and private organizations, along with the policies and the relevant legal framework and practices that are needed to support the quality, the safety, and the environmental soundness for any good service or process. So it's that entire system that we'll be discussing. And what UNIDO did is we consulted with a lot of experts from the International Network of Quality Infrastructure. A lot of these organizations like ISO, like ILAC, CEN, we gathered everyone and tried to come up with a sound methodology and on how to quantify this kind of information. And so what we agreed on in the end is that the QI4SD index will be comprised of 5 dimensions: accreditation, conformity assessment, metrology, policy and standards, and they're made up of 36 indicators. So we had to look at what type of data do we have available that cover enough countries, and that's how these indicators were picked, and of course how relevant they are. So for each country, then we have an aggregate general QI4SD index score. Next, this is where the tie-in to the SDG comes in, to the Sustainable Development Goals, through these, we call them pillar of development, people, planet, and prosperity. And so we take a subset of the dimensions and those values, and then we have also values for this P index, planet index, and prosperity index for each country. Okay, again, a couple more definitions, since not everybody's day in and out working in quality infrastructure. Just a quick recap: metrology, it's the science of measurement. Okay, standardization is all the knowledge and expertise that's related to usability, quality, safety, required by users and buyers and producers. Conformity assessments are such as, for example, testing labs, calibration labs. They're basically providing that technical evidence and checking if a product is meeting the standards. Is it safe? Is it good for the environment, etc.? Is it conforming to the good practices? And then accreditation is basically responsible for conforming and assuring users that these conformity assessment bodies are performing their duties well. So when they say that, hey, this product is conform to norms, okay, they have the competencies to do that, to assert that. And then policies are, as you might have guessed, all the governmental support, all the laws, all the regulations surrounding QI. Okay. So now if we start looking at the QI4SD index score, like of the global map, as you might have guessed, since quality infrastructure is linked to economic development and it's boosting economic output, but because it does requires a cost to invest in and to have a sound quality infrastructure, you'll see that more larger economies are going to have an edge. And that's why you can see here in the map, all the dark blue countries are these really large economies like the US, China, Japan, Germany. And they'll have the highest QI4SD index values. And so here we have the countries are going to be divided according to their GDP in 2020. So in 4 major GDP groups, high income, upper middle income, lower middle income, and low income. And this isn't really meant necessarily to compare countries with each other, because we understand that countries can still vary a lot, even if they're within the same GDP groups. They'll still have a lot of different indicators that are different. The different population size, different GDP per capita, etc. But the good thing here is it still gives you an idea of where you are within your GDP group, and especially it can highlight right away your strength, what you're doing really well in which dimension, and which maybe dimension need more improvement. So at the top rank here, we have Germany, then China, followed by France, the US, and the UK, and Japan. And then here, this is for the upper middle income countries, this is the group that Colombia belongs to. And so if you look, you'll see that Colombia is ranked 16th in this group, with Netherlands, Switzerland, and Austria at the head of the group. And then, yeah, the last one is the low-income countries. Okay, so now a few more details on Colombia. So 16th out of 46 in its group. Overall, it's ranked 33rd out of the 137 countries assessed. If you see in the graph on the left, Colombia is doing better than the median within that group, so that's great. And you can see in the chart on the right, you can see right away that the top dimensions that Colombia is doing really well on are accreditation and policy, and maybe needs to improve on conformity assessment and metrology. Okay, so this is giving us the scores for each dimension. And it's saying also, if you go a bit deeper at the indicator level, you can see that Colombia is doing well as far as its membership of IQNet and its number of recognized certificates. But it needs to improve in its participation in ISO technical committees and IEC technical committees, for example. And now when we go and look at the 3 pillars of sustainable development, Colombia has a good rank for the planet one. It's ranked 11th. Prosperity is 15th. And then for the people one, it's a bit lower and 20th. So that can tell you which areas of which SDGs, since each pillar is connected to specific SDGs, it can tell you which ones does Colombia need to improve on. Okay, and then there's a couple more examples, but again, I'll use the time to take you through the website. I think that's always the most valuable thing, more practical thing. So yeah, let's see, excuse me 1 second. Okay, I think I had it open here, but yeah, I had it open, but maybe let's go from the beginning again. So I'll go to the Knowledge Hub first. And okay. Sorry, my internet is a bit slower. Here you go. So right next to the Standards Compliance Analytics tool that we discussed earlier is the QI4SD index. And it's, I really like the user interface. It's very friendly, very easy to use. You can either click on the country you're interested here in the map, or you also have this drop-down, that's country profile drop-down, and right away you can also look at the country you're interested in. So here we can decide to go to the map, for example, and we go to Colombia, we'll click on it, and it's gonna give you here now more details on all of the 5 dimensions, the 3 Ps, its rank, and here in this drop-down, the compare country to, you can select if you're interested, for example, to find out what is Colombia's place as far as quality infrastructure is concerned within its region, within Latin America and the Caribbean. So here you can see that it's 3rd regionally. It's doing really quite well within the region. And now, if you're more interested specifically on all the different indicators for each dimension. You just scroll down and you'll have all that information available. So for all of the different dimensions. And there is one more thing. Piece. Let me just QI dimensions. No, there is different. Where are the P's? I think I have to select something to find more information on the P values. I think I was just there earlier. But yeah, sorry. As long as you click on index and SDGs, this is where you can get more information on the P values, on the P indices. So here you go. Once you click on that, you again find some really nice graphs of all the different countries. And again, we can select by income group. For example, if we take the region Latin America, again, you'll find Colombia within it. But you'll also can see the different values for the other countries. So that's can give you kind of a perspective on where does Colombia sit within that. You can see it's pretty good values here. Okay, and if you're more interested in all the details and every single value of this data set, you just have to click download the data. I've done it in the past, and you get a wonderful Excel sheet that has every single value for all of the countries. Okay. I think I'll stop sharing now, and I'm really happy to answer any questions about this tool or the previous one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dora, very much for your explanation. And now we would like to open a space so our audience can leave us the questions they have related with the platform. Right now, I see one question from Daniel. He says, we want to export to the US products such as pancakes mixed with eggs in the ingredients. We found that Colombia is banned from this kind of product because Colombia doesn't have an inspection system similar to the USDA. Only 3 countries have it for egg products. We want to know if if we use the egg ingredients from a USDA certificate supplier, could we export the final product from Colombia to the US without rejection? This is the only question we have, Dora. So,
sure. I think the best organization to reach out is the US FDA to confirm that they would accept that certificate. And I think that would be the best thing to do at this stage. I also answered another question. Unfortunately, the US is the only data sets that's not including meat, egg, poultry products. So in our rejection data set, unfortunately, we also can't really find out how many rejections from Colombia to the US in that product group. I just want to let people know.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Dora, very much. Muchas gracias a todos los que se conectaron el día de hoy. Tuvimos más de 100 asistentes. Queríamos recordarles que nosotros publicaremos esta grabación de este entrenamiento exportador en nuestra página web junto con todas las demás grabaciones que hemos hecho en el pasado, sesiones que hemos hecho en el pasado. Entonces, pues muy rápidamente voy a enseñarles cómo pueden encontrar todos los entrenamientos anteriores que hemos hecho con el ITC, con el BID, con ProColombia y pues aliados internacionales que tenemos. Entonces acá entran a la página del ANDI, se van a servicios transversales, van a dirección internacional y de aprovechamiento de acuerdos comerciales e intentan ubicar donde dice entrenamientos exportadores. Y aquí pues van a encontrar todas las memorias de las sesiones anteriores que hemos tenido en temas de acceso a mercados, de investigación de mercados, de networking internacional y directorios empresariales, plataformas sobre compras públicas, sobre logística internacional y comercio exterior. Entonces, pues en este espacio estaremos publicando en el transcurso desde la semana las memorias de esta sesión. Muchísimas gracias a todos los que nos acompañan y esperamos que estén muy atentos al próximo entrenamiento exportador que daremos desde la Dirección Internacional de la ANDI. Thank you very much to all of our speakers and to ONUDI for making this possible. Y muchas gracias a todos. Feliz día.